Surveying, remember, surveying is the first step involved in the design of the RPD that involves examining and analyzing the contour and position of the abutment teeth. Surveying is a procedure done to examine and determine the position of. So surveying involves examining and analyzing the contour and position of the abutment teeth and other structures on the cast. That helps in accurately designing the RPD by understanding the intraoral contours. So what is a surveyor? Surveyor is an instrument that is used in construction of removable partial denture to locate and delineate the contour and relative position of abutment teeth and associated structure. This definition is according to the GPT. Now the surveying, it is also known as, remember, surveying. The key points that you have to remember about surveying, that it is the function of surveyor. The surveyor is also known as parallelometer. So that determines the parallelism of the surfaces of teeth or other areas on the cast. So for entrance exam, we have to remember that Dr. A.J. Fortuny was the first to use the surveyor. In the year 1918. So surveying was first used by A.J. Fortuny in the year 1918. So surveyor helps in design of the removable partial denture by locating and delineating the contours and position of the abutment teeth and associated structures. So what is the main objective of surveying? The main objective of surveying in denture is for creating an effective and well-fitting removable partial denture. So let's discuss the objectives. The primary goal is to design a RPD that is so that its rigid and flexible components are appropriately positioned to achieve the optimal retention as well as bracing. So the first objective is to positioning. The first objective is positioning of components. The second objective is path of insertion, determining the path of insertion for the prosthesis, that there is no interference along the path. So that means that identifying the most efficient way to insert and remove the denture without causing any issues with the surrounding structures or abutment teeth. The third objective is height of contour. So mark the height of contour of the area above the undercut. So that helps to identify the highest point on the tooth or tissue that needs to be considered while designing the denture in order to avoid the unwanted interferences. The fourth objective of surveyor line is survey lines. Remember that mark the survey lines which are the height of contour on the tooth. So survey lines helps in designing the denture to fit well with the natural contour of the abutment teeth. So the fifth objective is mark the undesirable undercuts. Mark the undesirable undercuts into which the prosthesis should not extend. So that prevents the denture from getting caught or creating areas that could hinder its placement or removal. So what is the importance of marking undesirable undercuts during the surveying process? Marking undesirable undercut is important because it prevents the denture from extending into the areas that could cause difficulty with the placement or removal, ensuring a proper fit and function. Now let us discuss the types of surveyor. The first surveyor is the Naes surveyor. So one of the oldest surveyor designed for dentistry, featuring a fixed, it has a fixed, remember, horizontal arm. and a spring loaded vertical arm. So it includes a fan shaped undercut gauze and a triangular carbon marker. The second is the Wills surveyor. It is also known as Jelenko surveyor. It was introduced by Wills in 1929. This surveyor has rotating horizontal arm and spring loaded loaded surveying arm. The third is the so this is the difference between Naze and Jelenko. Its horizontal arm is fixed, but the Jelenki's the horizontal arm is movable. Here the vertical arm is retained by friction, whereas the vertical arm is spring mounted. So these are the various differences between the Naze and Jelenko's surveyor. Other is the Williams surveyor. Other is retentoscope. It is produced by the Saddle Law Company. It is surveyor with undercut gauze. So retentoscope is other type of surveyor. Stressograph. It is manufactured by Tyconium Company. It has two horizontal arms, one for conventional surveying and one with a dial gauge for measuring the undercut. Other is Tyconium. It is one of the modern instrument. The marking position will make vertical line on abutment tooth until depth has been reached. So remember all the broken arm, a carved surveyor. It has features a hing horizontal arm to assess all the regions of cast, allowing the attachment of handpiece for milling. Example is Williams surveyor, Nassau broken arm surveyor, Torrid broken arm surveyor. Other is optical, electronic, computerized surveyor. The examples are microanalyzer, paratham surveyor, Oftenal surveyor. So these are all examples of electronic or computerized surveyor. Optical surveyor, it uses a parallel beam of light to illuminate the cast with the survey line indicating by the borders of bright and dark areas. So the shadow areas will, remember here, the shadow areas will denote the undercut. Other is intraoral surveyors, parallelometers. So these are the various. So parallelometer is essential tool for designing RPD attachment used to identify parallel surfaces that contact the vertical arm during positioning. So what is the primary advantage of electronic surveyor over traditional mechanical surveyors? The electronic surveyors often more precise, detect the contours and undercut by using electronic currents to highlight the areas of contact and provide a clearer and more accurate representation of height of contour. So this was all about the types of the surveyors. Now let us discuss about the parts of surveying. So part of surveying, the first part is the surveying platform. So first is the surveying platform. It is a metal plate parallel to the floor of the mouth where the cast holder is placed. So it forms the base of surveyor and support all other components. So it serves as a foundation for the surveyor, providing the stability and reference point for rest of the component. The second portion is the cast holder or surveying table. It is a stand placed on the surveying platform and include a base and table where the cast is placed. The cast, it can be locked in the various position using a locking device. The table is attached to the base with the ball and socket joint. So the ball and the socket joint allows for tilting and positioning the table. So that is important for the exposing mild soft tissues undercut. The height of table can be adjusted. However, it should not be tilted more than 10 degree to avoid altering the path of insertion. The third component is the vertical arm. The vertical arm rises from the surveying platform and supports the superstructure that includes the horizontal arm and surveying arm. So it provides vertical support and stability for the horizontal arm and the surveying arm. The horizontal arm, it extends horizontally from the top of the vertical arm. It supports the surveying arm at its free end. So in some surveyors like naves, the horizontal arm is fixed. So remember, in naves, the horizontal arm is fixed, while in Jalinko it can be revolved horizontally. The horizontal arm, it provides support for surveying arm and can be adjusted based on the type of the surveyor. The surveying arm extends vertically from the free hand of the vertical arm and is parallel to the vertical arm. It can move up and down and has a mandrel at its lower for attaching the surveying tool. The surveying arm is used for position and adjust various tools for analyzing the cast. It may be spring loaded or locked in position depending upon the type of surveyor type. Surveying tools, apart from that, surveying tools, they are attached to the mandrel of the surveying arms and used to analyze the cast. The most common tools that we use are, remember, analyzing rod, carbon markers, undercut gauze, wax knife, and milling devices. The first is the analyzing rod. So this one is the analyzing rod. So a solid cylindrical metal rod that used as tangent to the convex surface of the object being surveyed and helps to determine the height of contour and analyze the favorable and unfavorable undercut. So the first tool to analyze the contour before making survey line is the analyzing rod. Other is the carbon marker. These marker resembles the lead point of micro tip pencils and come in circular or triangular cross sections. They are used to draw the height of contour on the cast. After positioning with the analyzing rod, the carbon marker traces the convex area to create the survey line. Next is the undercut gauze. So the high precision instrument used to measure the depth and location of the undercuts. They are available in various sizes. Remember these sizes. So they help to measure and assess the undercuts on the tooth to ensure proper denture design. The next is the wax knife. So this one is the wax knife. Wax knife is a tool that can be attached to the mandrel of the surveying arm, and it is used to trim excess wax and block out undesirable undercuts. So what is its function? It is used to modify the wax pattern and ensure that the undercuts, they are blocked out according to the desired path of insertion. Now let us discuss about the survey lines. The survey line is a line that is drawn on the tooth of cast by means of surveyor for purpose of determining the various parts of the clasp. So this line marks the greatest height of contour of the tooth in relation to the chosen path of insertion of the planned restoration. What is height of contour? So the height of contour is referred to line encircling the tooth at its greater circumference at selected position, and it is reference for designing the clasp and other components of the RPD. So Blatterfein classified the survey lines as high survey line, medium survey line, low survey line, or the diagonal survey line. So Blatterfield divided the buccal and lingual surface of tooth adjacent to the edentulous space into near zone and far zone. The near zone is the zone closer to the edentulous space, while the far zone is farther away. So high survey line. So this high survey line, it's found near the occlusal surface of tooth, parallel to the gingival margin. So it is parallel to the gingival margin. So the high survey line, it runs from the occlusion third in the near zone to the occlusal third to the far zone. So this type of line in circle indicates a deeper undercut. For such cases, a more flexible clasp like rote wire clasp is recommended. The medium survey line, it is located. So this one is the near zone, this one is the far zone. And medium survey line extends from the occlusal third in the near zone to the middle zone to the middle third of the far zone. So they are suitable for Akers or Roche clasp, with the Aker clasp being preferable. Low survey line, it is situated close to and parallel to the gingival margin. And here modified T clasp is used. So a low survey line is closer to the cervical third of tooth in both the near and the far zone. This type of survey line presents a challenging for maintaining oral hygiene due to its proximity to the gingiva. Diagonal line, it travels diagonally from near the occlusal surface in the near zone to the gingiva in the far zone. So here reverse circlet clasp is used. Diagonal survey lines, they are often found in the buccal surfaces of canines and premolars. The undercut, it's the portion of the surface of object that is below the height of contour in relation to the path of placement. So these are the type of the undercuts. Tooth undercuts or soft tissue or bony undercuts that are present on the lingual side of the ridge. So surveying, you have to mount the cast, position the cast, securely mount the primary cast onto the cast holder on the surveyor table. The cast should be fixed tightly using the clamps to prevent any movement. Ensure that the occlusal surface of the remaining teeth, they are parallel to the base of the cast holder. That is important to maintain the accurate alignment during the surveying. The calf should not be tilted before analyzing, as any tilt can affect the accuracy of the survey. Positioning the survey arm, horizontal arm adjustment. After mounting the cast, position the horizontal arm of the surveyor so that it can make a contact with at least 3 different spaced out points on the cast. that helps in obtaining analysis of the cast contour. Once the proper position is determined, lock the horizontal arm in the place. You can use a thumb screw that ensures stability during the surveying process.